Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to have a bit of my thoughts and discussion on reality TV Karen versus reality Karen and the things that are coming out behind the scene versus what we've seen on camera. So if you're new here, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump into this video. So when we originally started out the season, of course, it showed us a very distraught, very sad Karen, because somehow, some way, a message was leaked to her regarding Miles, her future husband. And throughout the beginning of the season, we saw scenes such as this, where there was a disconnect between her and Miles, seeming that she wasn't happy, questioning his emotional intelligence, questioning his masculinity. And it was interesting to watch because of the fact that the fans were reacting to what they were actually seeing. Of course, fast forward to decision day, they chose to stay together and stay married, and it had a lot of folks confused. Even though there were talks behind the scenes that they were going to stay together, the vast majority of fans were shocked, amazed, and then of course the reunion, we saw faces like this, and then the aftermath of what was coming out on social media was scenes such as this with Karen and Miles, and they look so happy, they're close, the body language. So what the heck was really going on versus what we were seeing on television versus what was going on behind the scenes with this couple? So let's address that. Well, there were several things before the season had ended that was coming out where people were spotting them together, holding hands, out shopping. For example, in this particular slide where someone actually saw them at Costco together down in New Orleans. And shout out to MAFS fan who always dishes the tea. And even Karen's mom was all over social media trying to let everybody know how Karen was being edited as a wife that doesn't care really about her husband just for drama. And, you know, she was forwarding people to where they can go check that out. I mean, she loved Miles, as we finally found out at the end of the season. And she even stated here, you know, how she felt that Miles was just what Karen needs, someone with a lot of love and compassion. There were other things coming out that Miles is getting a lot more on camera than, off camera than what we're seeing on camera, and that people were really sure that they were going to say yes on decision day, which a lot of other folks who was watching what was going on throughout the season thought the opposite. There were other things that, you know, she was doing for her husband. She was cooking meals. Has anyone seen any of these meals on camera? No, because as this stated, no, they didn't want us to see that affection. The fact that they were going to consummate their marriage, which of course we found out later, you know, that's something that they were going to do, of course, after decision day. And of course, that should have been between them. It was up to them to make a decision on whether or not they wanted to share that with the world, you know. And, you know, even when Kevin asked them on the reunion, you know, a lot of people, oh, they didn't confirm it, oh, they didn't confirm it. Yeah, they did, but they didn't want to make a big spectacle out of it, you know. They don't have to. So Karen did an interview with Madame Noraire where they asked her, you got emotional about talking about Miles, saying that he wouldn't say yes if today were decision day. What were those tears about for her? And Karen responded with saying, I don't watch the show, so I'm going to go off my memory. But I think you're referring to the recommitment day. And you guys, the recommitment day is only a month after the marriage. The entire day was emotional for me because Miles and I had a very long and freeing conversation just a few hours before. That conversation was a breakthrough. And for the first time since the experiment, she saw Miles drop the everything's okay and I'm going to do whatever it takes to please you regardless how it affects me attitude, and to tell his truth. And that's the first time she felt that she could trust him to share 100% of how he was really feeling, Trusting that someone can share the good and the bad was very important to her when building emotional intimacy. The tears were a result of feeling like a weight had been lifted. It was a lot in that moment, you know. So, going back to, she was saying that that actually happened on recommitment day. Recommitment day is halfway the process. And before they knew they were going to be in this for 4 months, that was a situation where it was only 1 month after. Okay, so I want to clear that up. Now, she also said, I'm so happy that you asked me that question. I think Miles and I have always done a great job in nurturing one another and doing things to show that we care. Also, acts of service is 100% her love language. She always tried to do little things for Miles, like bring home his favorite snacks, pick up things he needed and wanted without asking. And for our anniversary, she said she got him a vinyl record player and some new records since he loves music. And she also did the Thai massage techniques at home after their initial session, which we did see several times. She did that for him. She said, even on tough days, we always found ways to let each other know that we cared. The appreciation and respect has always gone both ways. And it continues. And they asked her, with working in healthcare, I'm sure the pressure was more intense for you than most. How were you feeling during these first few weeks in quarantine? And Karen responded, and I quote, I'm not going to lie, I was not my usual self during the start of the pandemic. It was tough. I was working long hours, some 12-hour days. She was struggling with how to deal with new stress and emotions that stay-at-home orders brought. It looks like navigating uncharted waters, or territory, I should say. And I didn't know how to handle it at first. I didn't know what I needed from myself to get through most days. So it was especially hard communicating those unknown needs and new feelings to my husband, who I had only known for a month at the time. I don't think people realize what a mind F that whole situation was. So again, all of this that we were seeing, what that was being portrayed, was still within that first month. They were in this thing for 4 months. But you know what? Let's continue. They asked her also, how do you think processing the realities of the pandemic while still trying to be married affected the relationship? Karen responded, and I quote, it was hard. Miles and I were both struggling for different reasons during the first part of the pandemic. I made everything feel harder because you're taking in all of these vastly new and large life changes all at once. I think it clouded a lot for us and made communicating with each other, very hard. By now, you all know I'm an introvert. I was stressing so hard internally to process everything in downtime. The camera crew was gone, but the pandemic was the new elephant in the room. And so they also asked her, do you think you've learned anything about your perceptions on masculinity since you started the actual journey? And Karen's response was, no, I don't think that I had to grow in that area. From the viewer's perspective, it looks like I had a toxic or immature view of masculinity, but in reality, I do not. Viewers have not been shown how I truly feel about masculinity, at least not at this point. I can't change what or how things are portrayed, but I can speak my truth. I hate that masculinity was linked to my reaction of clinical depression. I also hate that it appears that I view things like expressing emotions and communicating as less masculine when I do not. There is so much that is out of context on my views, but I am excited to move forward in life and share more about my true feelings on topics like these post after the show. So I'm glad that she was able to state those things, because that was a big turnoff to the perceptions of the folks that view this, and even clips that was missing, such as this one. This particular clip was actually pre-season, and then they never aired it. And then, of course, we're now getting shots like these where they are so affectionate with each other. And even in her caption, depth, laughs, balance, respect, partnership, appreciation, and so many more things. Thank you for always hearing and seeing me even when it was hard. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for sharing your full self and for allowing me to share my full self too. Thank you for being the man that you are. So these are some of the things that we didn't see, and of course, a lot of more things are going to come out, which some things have, and I'm going to continue to show you in this video. But even Miles, at the night of the reunion, he also put this information out. And you can go check this out on his Facebook fan page. He wrote a letter to his wife saying, Mrs. Landry Williams, the world will never know all that we've been through, and I kind of like it better that way. We know what we have, and I'm excited for the world to see the person I've gotten to know and care about since day one. I am so proud of you. This year has been a journey. We've leaned on each other through this wild experiment, a pandemic, and being silent while the world was watching and reacting to what they've seen. The hate has been unreal, and through it all, you found the strength, courage, and love to show up every day and build a strong foundation for our marriage. You told me early you wanted something special. Let's get started, killer. Black love, Miles. And so also videos surfaced of both Karen and Miles having a good time. Even in that particular spot, she was like singing to me, Daddy. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. But they're engaging and having a good time. He's singing his heart out. She's enjoying every minute of it. And actually, this was before the finale, or what we saw of the finale. So, I mean, these are the type of things that we needed to see. I think what we saw was a lot in the very beginning of, the show, but they were in this thing for 4 months. What happened to everything else? I mean, even when they're having a meal, sharing oysters and, talking about good food, because Karen loves to cook. The girl, I mean, he did mention the fact that she's a good cook. We did get that box. But we didn't get to see all of the meals that she cooked for him. And then when she's actually, you can see her smiling and happy and having a good time and hanging out with the Randalls and getting ready to go out because, they're getting ready to enjoy the evening, those type of things. And so, of course, fans, after seeing what was coming out after the end of the show in the past 48 hours, here's one commenter right here, saying, at first I thought she was stuck up, but in reality she's probably the sweetest, most affectionate person we could ever know. We have to keep in mind that this is a reality show and that the people here all have a character they have to play, whether we realize it or not. They're all going to be completely different off camera, and sometimes that's for the better or the worse. And in Karen's situation, it was for the better. And then another comment was, I think all of the above is TBH. You don't know these people. We must remember that we don't know how these people are off camera. They can either be normal, nice, or crazy. We'll never know unless we know them personally or the people that do know them personally, tell them about their behavior. The show is heavily edited for everyone to fit into a narrative they want to show the audience in hope of better ratings and juicy drama. Always take the people on here with a grain of salt and wait it out. And wait it out is what we should do. I mean, they did get a lot of hate. There were a lot of folks that were riding for Karen and Miles, but when you were seeing, and it's so unfortunate for sound bites, how he was being treated and the way that they made it look that Karen was treating him versus everything that's coming out now where they're really affectionate with each other, spending time together, they live with each other, they've consummated the marriage, and everybody is all up in confusion because we didn't really get to see a full picture of how we saw what was started at first, but we also needed to see the progression of how their relationship, had a maturation process up to where we are now. So therefore everyone won't feel like they've been gaslit. And the distorted perception of this couple runs so deep that even though they're telling the world where they stand at this point versus what's been shown, people still actually believe reality TV over their reality. And folks, we have to remember that reality TV isn't always true reality. So I give best wishes to this couple and all of the couples on the show. But then you may ask, Romance Review TV, you saying all of this stuff about reality and not so reality, and what are we supposed to do? We like the drama, we want romance. But that's why we watch. We really want to see the romance. There are great couples that come out of these shows. So as a treat, I decided to do a compilation of some of our favorite dating reality TV couples. Enjoy.